Hello YouTube, today I'm going to be making Frankenstein's monster. This is one that's been on my to-do list for a really long time. He's obviously depicted in so many different ways in various movies and comic book art, but I just want a very kind of classic look to him. So I start with this basic form using aluminium foil just squashed together. I've got his arms coming forward, but the rest of him is basically just straight. I'm going to be using Milliput to do all the sculpting on this. If you haven't used Milliput before, it's a two-part putty. You mix the two parts together in equal amounts and it sets rock hard at room temperature in about 4 hours. Today I'm using silver grey, which is particularly good because it shows up all the details and things really well. But you could use standard Milliput. Right, next you make thin sheets of Milliput just by squashing it between your thumb and your index finger, and then you just add it over the top. So it's probably only about 2 millimeters thick, but I added some to the shoulders, some for the trousers, some for the boots. You can see it's really quite roughly done, but a lot of those kind of pits and bumps and things, they all become really good texture later on when you come to paint it. I carried on adding thin sheets of milliput until I covered the whole of his body and his arms. You can see it's still rough looking, but that doesn't matter. It's a really fast technique to get him covered, and then you can refine it later. I wanted to give him a nice kind of sunken chest look, and I think I've done that quite well. With the boots, I've added laces and a bit of detail, like the soles of the feet show up more now as well. Obviously, I wasn't going to be happy until he started looking back at me. So I started doing his face, and even though he hasn't got any eyes yet, you get the feeling that he is starting to look back at you. So the key features here are an absolutely massive eyebrow ridge that gives that sunken eye look. You need a tiny nose, really defined cheekbones, and a downward facing, really kind of glum looking mouth. The head is quite conical, so it kind of angles upwards towards the top, getting wider as you go up, and then it's very flat on the top of his head. Again, a lot of the milliput that I've added to the head has just been put on really quickly and is very rough looking. There's a lot of kind of pits and holes and things, but everything can be smoothed in and refined later. Obviously, I've still got the hair to do on top of the head, and that will cover up a lot of these big cracks. It's useful to have lots of reference photos to work from, but failing that, you could just do a list of all the main features of Frankenstein's monster. Things like the eyebrow ridge, scars, hair, the bolts and things. Okay, you can see I've added his jacket. That was done in stages, again using kind of flattened milliput to make things like the lapels. You can see that I've added the small stitching details to his scars. That's a case of rolling like two sausages of milliput and smoothing it in at the sides, making two rows of holes, and then adding the little tiny thin bits of thread. That worked quite well. For his hair, I created radiating lines by pressing into it with a silicone tool, working from the central line outwards. I had basically cut a large oval shape that was just slightly bigger than the top of his head, and I rolled it over the edge, and then I just chopped into that to make all those little triangle shapes to give the rough hair effect. I wanted the jacket to have a bit of texture, so I don't know if you can see this or not, but I pressed in with a bit of fabric over the top of the milliput, and it's given it some texture. That should all show up more when I'm painting it. You can see this kind of rough effect that I've done on the bottom of his jacket, as if it's all kind of ripped up and torn and shredded. I think that'll look particularly good painted as well. Right, I was going to show you one of the biggest advantages of using Milliput. Is that obviously as I was doing that front part, everything had dried and hardened, and all of the back part of the jacket I haven't done yet. I can do it completely separately, but when I do it, I haven't got the risk of the front of his jacket still all being soft or anything. It's hardened already by that stage. I used to use oven baked clays and things, but then obviously you got to keep putting them in the oven between every stage, and that just gets really annoying. Okay, you can see I've added these folds to the sleeves. That's really just, again, like rolling lots of thin sausages of milliput, putting them on and just pressing in with various modeling tools just to get those kind of sharp edges. And again, pressing in with a bit of material to give some kind of fabric effects. I then made some hands and I pushed wires in for the thumb and the fingers. This is 2 millimeter aluminium wire, which is a reasonably thick wire, but it's soft and easy to bend. You can see I've made kind of the main finger joints and things, but it will all get refined when I add the Milliput over the top. When you're doing hands, obviously it's very easy to just put kind of a sausage of Milliput over the thumb and each finger, and it looks a bit like fingers, but then it's things like the knuckles and adding the sort of the tendons on the top of the hands. Those kind of little details make all the difference, and they look better when they're painted. Okay, you can see I've added these kind of torn kind of sleeve edges from his kind of t-shirt or whatever that's underneath his jacket. That's worked quite well. On the back here, I kept it reasonably simple. Again, I've added more texture in there, but the main thing is this kind of curved shape here to show like the shoulder blades. That works pretty well, I think, and it adds more kind of overall form to him. On the edges of the sleeves, you can see I still need to refine those a little bit, just where his shoulders are. I did think about making some bolts for his neck, but actually when I looked in my shed, I found two actual bolts that were kind of perfect. So I thought I'd just drill some holes and screw them in later on. So after refining his shoulders, it was time to paint. And I literally painted the whole of him black to start with. It's really nice to have a really dark base colour, and you know then that you've got black in all the deepest areas. That's the most important thing. It's pretty terrifying at first because you lose all of the details that you've sculpted in so carefully. But everything comes back when you dry brush the lighter colours. If you think about when we used the really pale coloured Milliput, that obviously was showing up all the details really well. Okay, I started with a very dark turquoise green kind of colour. It's a very bluey green, obviously, and I was umming and ahhing about this. I was thinking, should I use a really bright green or should I go with this more bluey green? And I used to see a lot of like comic book illustrations and that kind of thing with him with this more kind of turquoise colour, and I thought I'm going to go with that. It sort of looks more like kind of dead flesh as well. But you'll see, obviously, this is just the darkest coat, and I've only done it just on his face and his hands for now. Okay, this is with the second coat of turquoise, and this is a much lighter turquoise. I've added some white to my previous colour. So it's basically just blue, green, and white. And I'll gradually make it even brighter still, but you can do it in stages, and if at any point you don't like it, you can go back a stage and use one of your darker colours. Okay, even brighter still. It's important to note that when you're doing this dry brushing, you've got your paint on your brush and you dry it on a bit of kitchen paper and then you dust it over the top of all of the kind of high places. It's really easy technique, but it's worth bearing in mind that every time you go to a lighter colour, you should have your brush a bit drier each time. Okay, next I painted his t-shirt and his boots in this kind of pale brown. So I used cadmium red, emerald green, mixed those together to get brown, and then added some yellow ochre to make a much lighter brown. And I've just used a thin brush to get into all of those kind of corners and things, and I've painted that in just a pretty flat colour, apart from some of the tears in the sleeve and that kind of thing. I'm using System 3 acrylic paints to do all of the painting stages on this. Yeah, the frayed t-shirt edges work well, and I've also gone in and done, he's got like a patch of material here, and I've just sort of added a little bit of the light brown colour into that as well. Okay, I decided to go for an even lighter brown for his jacket, but I added a tiny bit of red in with it. You can't really tell the difference too much though between the colour of the jacket and the colour of the t-shirt. So I end up actually painting the t-shirt green, but you'll see that later. You see how all the details show up though on the jacket, like all of the textures and things that I pressed in with material. It's because I'm doing the dry brush technique still over the jacket. So all of the deepest areas, things like all of the tears between and all of the folds and things, they all still show up really nice and dark. Right, so after a little bit more painting, like painting his t-shirt green and things, I painted the whole thing with a layer of wood flooring PVA glue. It's a really strong PVA. It's basically the same as super PVA. It just means that you paint it on over the top, and obviously it's white to start with. When it dries clear. But you can see I've done a fairly thick coat, and I'm just waiting now for it to dry. When it does dry though, it has a couple of benefits. One, it makes it a bit shiny, so it gives him a kind of a glossy look. The other thing is, though, it protects all of your acrylic paint, so your acrylic paint won't kind of scrape off or anything, and it just adds a bit of toughness to the whole model. Okay, you can see these bolts that I've put in. Remember I said I just was going to drill a couple of holes and then just screw them in. Basically, you just put a bit of the PVA glue in the holes before you screw them in, and then you know they're really going to be tough. You can see I painted the fingernails as well, and the laces on the boots. I did his trousers in just a grey colour. That's worked quite well. What I really love about these models is that if I change my mind in the future and I want to do a completely different colour somewhere, I can always repaint it, and as long as I put a bit of the PVA glue over the top, it'll give a similar glossy look, and that'll tie it in with the rest of the figure. Okay, I do like the idea of doing more of the sort of Universal Monsters characters. So I'd quite like to do obviously like a Dracula, a Wolfman would be cool, maybe like a sort of mummy, and perhaps like a creature from the Black Lagoon. If any of those interest you and you would like to see me make one of those, let me know in the comments. I'm not saying it'll be imminently, but in the near future, I'm sure. It would be so cool to have like the whole lot of them all kind of next to each other. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, but also check out a lot of the videos that I've done in the past, because I've done a lot of things from various movies, all kinds of weird creatures. A lot of them you will recognize instantly because they're really famous. Things like Slimer from Ghostbusters, E.T., Gremlins, that sort of thing. I like really odd little creatures. They're kind of my favourite things, little monsters and that sort of thing. Hit subscribe to see anything that I post up in the future. I'd like to thank Milliput for sponsoring this channel. They send me free Milliput from time to time, and it makes such a huge difference to the amount of sculpting that I can do. I have a long to-do list of movie creatures that I'm working my way through, but if there's anything in particular that you would like me to make, if you put that in the comments, because if it happens to be something that's on my list already, it might help me choose what I'm going to do next. Anyway, I really want to thank you all for putting up with my boring voice and watching my videos, and especially want to thank all of you who have subscribed to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.